Hey everybody, and welcome back to Runcl's YouTube page. My name is Barbara. I go by Bass and Gal on social media, and welcome to fall fishing. I'm in northern Kentucky. As you can see, everything is still mostly green. We are starting to change over. We have had very much a warmer fall than we have had since I can remember. So our fall fishing hasn't really started. The water's still pretty warm. I think the fish are just kind of starting the transition. A lot of them are still kind of out deep. So I think probably the next video we're going to go over some good baits that I think are really good for the fall. But today I wanted to do the review on a reel I've been testing for Runcl. That is the SC330, which I think I mentioned it in the previous video, but I had just received it and I didn't really want to go over my first thoughts of just taking it out on the box. I actually wanted to catch fish on it before I reviewed it. So just some of the specifics on the SC330. Let me see if you can see the gear ratio is 4:1, and it has 8 ball bearings. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, 8 ball bearings. It's a smaller spool because this is a push button reel. I think on their Amazon and their website, I think it says a Spincast reel, but where I'm from, we just call it a push button reel. So let me grab it, and this is what it looks like. Now I have this on a short 6-gill Mayaka rod. It's a 6.6 medium heavy. And the reel fits on it, pretty good, but this rod's really not made for this reel, but it did really well actually. And if you can see, it's got the standard marks that Runcl does on its reels with the logo there on the handle. Nice, sharp, shiny looking. Mine's a little bit banged up. Like I said, I have been using it for a couple of weeks now and have caught some fish. And so for those of you that are newer to fishing and you're not completely sure what a push button is, the push button is basically, I don't want to call it like a beginner's reel, but it really is kind of a beginner's reel. Whenever I posted this on TikTok, a lot of people were talking about like, oh yeah, I remember starting with a Zebco, and that's what I started with. I think a lot of us started with a Zebco, and Zebco was a push button reel. A lot of people are really intimidated by a bait caster. And so actually, let me grab a bait caster really quick, just in case you're super new to fishing, then you can see the difference between these two. So just one second. Okay. So this is a bait caster. This is actually the Runcl Valet, which is by far my favorite. And so the bait caster, if you can see, I have mine set pretty loose. Let me see if I can get the bait in the picture too. If I let go of the button, it falls pretty fast. But you have to do certain settings, on your bait casters. A lot of people get super frustrated because they can get overruns in them, which, we call bird's nests and stuff like that. And it can be a pain in the butt to learn how to fish a bait caster. There are a lot of different factors, involved in learning how to use one. But people who have a hard time learning seem to, decide to go to a Spincast type rod, which is an open bail. But when you're younger, you know, some younger kids, depending on the age, will start with a spinning rod. But most of us, you know, this is the step up, the bait caster, you know. But back to the SC330. So this one, as you can see, you know, it's closed. And you can sail your bait, you know, a good distance. And you don't have to worry about stopping the bait because of an overrun. The reel really does all the work for you. So, you know, with a bait caster, you really have to pay attention to what you're doing, especially when you're learning. Now, after you've learned how to fish a bait caster, it really just comes natural. You kind of, you know, your brain, your arm, hand, and the bait caster and rod, it just all works together, and it just does what it's supposed to do. Well, once you learn how to cast and be accurate with this, the reel really does all the work, you know, so you don't have to be worrying about fixing the reel if you're a parent, you know, and your kid's doing it. So if you can see, you know, I push the button, I let go, the bait falls. But the reel stopped it, it didn't overrun. So, you know, you crank it back up. Let me get here, cast it out into the yard. And see, I actually even ended up, oh, I wonder if I'll catch something. I have a wacky rigged white Cinco on here. But, you know, and I was actually practicing skipping the bait. I'll put the video up here, or I'll just put it in the feed.
Follow so you can get in on the upcoming giveaway.
But I was practicing skipping with it, and, you know, trying to, you know, see if I could be more accurate with it. And it was actually pretty challenging for me to switch from a bait caster to this, because, you know, my thumb just kept hitting the button out of, just like I said, just out of habit. But this is a really good reel, you know, if somebody is just getting into bass fishing, well, really any type of fishing. But just remember that with this type of reel, the line has to be smaller because it is a smaller spool. But, you know, if you have it on a heavy enough rod, you know, to where the rod can handle the fish, then the reel should be able to handle the fish, as long as all the other components, you know, you've got the right line and everything else. I mean, this is a good sturdy rod, reel. So kid, wife, you know, husband, son, you know, just whoever, this should get the job done. A little bit more specifics about the reel is, you know, like I said, it's a 4-to-1 ratio, and a lot of the other reels that I have shown have been like 7-to-1, 7.5-to-1, and those are really fast reels. So the benefits of a fast reel is going to be, you know, when you set the hook and you make those first couple of reels, it's picking up that slack in the line really fast, and so you tend to get a pretty good hook set. With this reel, you know, and it being a 4-to-1, you know, it's a smaller spool, so that helps because it doesn't have to spin as much to, you know, make that full rotation and bring in some line. But, you know, it's still a slower reel. So what my recommendation, you know, to offset that is, you know, this is a really good reel for like crankbaits, because, you know, a lot of times like the square bills, the shallow divers, fishing one slow a lot of times is good. But in addition to that, when you're fishing this, if you're fishing a plastic, let's say that you're fishing a Texas rig, you're dragging a Ned rig, you know, or something like that, always make sure that you have a tight line and don't allow any slack in it, because if you do that, then when you go to set the hook, you're already going to have that tension, and that will kind of make up for you know, the needing to pick up slack really fast in the reel. And as long as you have a good hook set, you get the hook and the fish, the reel will be able to, you know, help to keep up. You've got to help, you know, the rod's got to help as well. You know, you've really got to work the fish the way that it's running. Make sure that you do your best to not allow any slack, because if there is slack in the line, that's how they throw hooks, especially with treble hooks. I have no idea how they can get that many hooks in their face and still manage to throw it, but they do it all the time. And you know, so you do have to play the fish. You have to make sure that that the slack is as non-existent as possible. And you're going to hear this quite a bit. You know, a nice fish is really going to test that, and you need to make sure that you don't get nervous and tighten up that slack. You know, let it pull the drag. My first fish on this reel, I'm actually going to post a picture of it, or I think I did a TikTok video, so maybe I'll dub that in.
Follow us to see more gear and deals.
Cinco and the SC330.
But my first fish on it was a nice fish. And when I heard that, you know, I immediately got kind of nervous, because on a bait caster, you know, you don't hear that as pronounced, and you make up, because it does have more power, it is faster, you make more ground. And it took me a lot longer to get that fish in with this because of everything I already mentioned, but it was so much fun. You know, I had it on this, you know, smaller 6-gill rod, and it was pull and drag like crazy. I got it on a Cinco, you know, so I had to do exactly what I said. I made sure that, you know, I didn't have any slack. I didn't have any trouble putting the hook in the fish's face. You know, and it was a really fun fight. But you know, Christmas is right around the corner, and it's going to be here before we know it. So if you have somebody that is, you know, wanting to get into fishing, you know, they're hesitant, or, you know, need a new reel, and I would highly recommend to try this. They're on Amazon, it is $31.99 to $33.99, I think, is the price range. And, you know, you just go to Runcl actually has a store on Amazon that you can go to, and it has all of their, you know, their reels, their baits, their terminal tackle, all the tools and accessories, which they have tons of. I mean, they really get you set up to, you know, to get whatever you want and take off fishing, you know, and take care of all of your gear, rod, socks, and dry bags and tackle bags. So you can go to their store and check everything out, but this will be on there too. And like I said, it's the SC330. And anything that you see in the store that is sold by Runcl, make sure it's not sold by a third party or by Runcl direct. But if it just says sold by Runcl, then you can also use my code, which is BJ Harris. That coupon code will give you a 10% discount. So you can go check it out. You will get a warranty card in the package as well. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm still, you know, I took a bait caster off of this reel, or off of this rod, to put this reel on. But I've actually really been having fun learning how to skip with it. I think it's helping me to improve my technique with that, because it's something I've been wanting to learn forever, and it's challenging to learn. And so I'm working on that with this, and hopefully it'll help me to fine-tune my I guess my, what would you call it, my accuracy and my approach to it. And once I'm comfortable with, you know, actually how I'm throwing it, then I can get back to the bait caster. But right now I'm learning on this. So, you know, it doesn't matter how long you've really been fishing. This can definitely come in handy. So, like I said, have any questions, let us know. Hope everybody is doing well and, you know, catching some big ones. Fall is a great time to, you know, to start fishing. You know, the fish are chasing the shad back in the creeks, you know, and it can be so much fun, but it can also be very frustrating because they are so honed in on that little bait. And when they have tunnel vision to that little bait, it can be hard to trick them. What I have been catching the majority of my fish on over the past couple of weeks is a drop shot 3-inch Runcl green bean swim bait. Let me say that again. The technique was a drop shot, just barely off of the bottom. Runcl Pro Bite 3-inch swim bait in the green bean color. The green bean has always been my favorite color because it's worked in every single body of water that I've been in. So that's what I've been catching the majority of my fish on the past couple of weeks. So, you know, you can always try that. So anyway, the next video is going to be on some good fall time baits that, you know, that I recommend, and we'll kind of take it from there. So hope you guys are on them, and we'll catch up soon. Bye bye.